Hey everyone, Ben here. Now a week ago I published a video testing out some of the combinations you suggested would reignite my enjoyment of AMS 2. And you were right, so I've kept going, and what I found is that AMS 2 isn't just a racing game, it's a time machine. Let's get out on track and I'll show you what I mean. In my last video we started with Ayrton Senna's Lotus 98T at the 1986 Spanish Grand Prix, and it was awesome. This time we're in Nelson Piquet's Brabham BT49 at the 1979 South African Grand Prix, and honestly, if anything, it's even better. Because the graphics and atmosphere of AMS 2 are so good, you're instantly transported to the period. You can make this look even more authentic with custom skins and drivers, but even without them, just look and listen to this phenomenal race. The car itself is a delight to drive. It feels natural and extremely intuitive to me. Yes, you need to be careful with your inputs, but honestly I was more immediately comfortable in this car than Senna's 80s Lotus. That might have something to do with the track. It's far less technical than historic Jerez, with a large portion of the lap at full throttle through snaking, undulating corners. There's a couple of big braking zones, and the final corner out onto the start-finish straight is tricky to get the car straightened and on the gas nice and early. But really this car just fits on this circuit. It plays to its strengths and doesn't expose its weaknesses, and probably that goes for AMS 2 as a whole. The environment is absolutely gorgeous. I love how wide open the circuit is. The crowds pressed against the sides of the track, the fact that while you can definitely recognise elements of the modern circuit here, it is a fundamentally different beast. It's just exhilarating, and to boot, the AI are pretty solid here, providing some great racing too. As you can tell, I love it. Right, we're fast forwarding in time now, not to the modern day, but to a turn of the century international GT race at historic Silverstone. We're in the cockpit of Alan McNish's Porsche 911 GT1, and pound for pound, this is one of my favourite cars and experiences in AMS 2 full stop. They're incredibly powerful vehicles that demand finesse in the lower gears and tight and twisty stuff. But once you're able to fully unleash the speed of these cars, the downforce available means it's a bit like driving a rocket ship. The driving experience against the AI is generally very good in this class too. They'll fight you for position, but it rarely spills over into anything too aggressive. I've also seen less curb and grass running than in other classes too, where the AI seemingly misjudges where the track ends. Racing the version of Silverstone that F1 fans of the late 90s will recognise is also a particular treat. No fancy new pit building here, but the Maggots and Beckett's complex remains as exhilarating as ever. Again, the period detail in terms of the track decoration and atmosphere is absolutely quality. All in all, this class of cars and this combo are fantastic fun and really something you should give a go yourself. And finally, we're going slightly back in time once again, just a few years earlier to the 1996 IndyCar World Series. We're driving the Renault 95i as the sun sets at Laguna Seca. This is a chassis raced by Jimmy Vasser to the championship in 1996 and by Alex Zanardi, who would be awarded Rookie of the Year that season. And while there may well be more challenging versions of similar era cars available in other sims, in the context of AMS 2, these cars are still a proper handful. I find you have to be incredibly gentle with your inputs in the lower gears, and you can see even in mid-speed corners I'm having to make steering corrections quite regularly to fight oversteer. If you've got the equipment, you can authentically run these with a stick shift sequential transmission for an extra challenge and more immersion. But once you build your confidence in how the car is going to respond and begin pushing, it's a hugely enjoyable driving experience. The undulating nature of Laguna Seca makes for an additional challenge with limited opportunities to overtake, but absolutely loads of opportunities to bin the car into the sand or the barrier. The AI do suffer a little bit with that tendency to bunch together, but actually I find they behave a bit better than say the Formula 122 car that was released into the sim last year, and they provided me with some enjoyable battling in my running so far. Now these cars come as a part of the Racing USA DLC, which alongside the historic tracks in the game are probably the best paid for content in the sim. So there you go, 3 more fabulous combinations that take us back in time in AMS 2. Keep your suggestions for more car and track combinations coming in, and if you want to see more great ways to have fun in AMS 2, check out the video that's on screen now.